ladies and gentlemen, Infidel by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I haven't read it yet, but foreword is by Christopher Hitchens. I have read that. I would love to give you a few little quotes from the foreword. We'll start on the second page of the foreword. Now this first quote is interesting because people think selfishness is evil, but if you think that Islam is evil, then you'll see that they can't. No, selfishness is good. Listen to this. In the Muslim world there is hardly a self, because the only real human moments are stolen ones. This leads to hypocrisy. She says the only real human moments are stolen ones. That means you have a moment of truly touching someone, or maybe even literally, get together for a little sexual rendezvous, and it has to be secret. It is immoral according to the strictures of your society. It's dangerous and so on. And yet that's the only time when you're you, when you're a human, when you are yourself, when you are anybody, when you're anything. A strong feature of this book, quoting now from Hitchens' writing, a strong feature of this book is the clear-eyed approach that it takes to matters of sex. Ayaan believes that sexual repression is at the root of all the related problems because, quoting Ayaan now, without sexual freedom, there is no self, end quote. The corollary to this is that anybody who wants to possess sexual self-respect will have to embark on a collision course with religious orthodoxy. How true, how true. I recognize that in Utah under the Mormon, the cultural hegemony of Mormonism. The cult of virginity, which is one of the centerpieces of the Quran, absolutely mandates that both male supremacy and female misery. Ayaan talked quietly and demurely, but graphically, of the ways that this cult makes the lives of women a misery, either by depriving them of a sex life altogether, or forcing them into expedients that are dangerous as well as unpleasant and degrading. What sort of things does it force women into? Anal penetration, resealing of the hymen. Resealing of the hymen. That's when they cut the clitoris off and then sew everything together, just leave a little hole. Now we move down a little bit. A quote from Ayaan. Islam is so crude because it insists on such strict prayer routines and exercises. I had to attend, but I couldn't concentrate, and so I felt guilty. Aha! Says Hitchens, here is the very encapsulation of the sadomasochism of religion. It makes impossible demands on people, then convicts them of original sin when they fail to live up to them. Now, end quote. Now that just is so essentially similar to a statement given by Ayn Rand, where she says that it's in Galt's speech. It says they damn you as immoral, and then damn you for not being able to do away with your immorality, or some such thing. It's some line, and I can't believe that Hitchens might not be aware of that thought if he's read For the New Intellectual. I doubt he's read Atlas Shrugged, but he calls Ayn Rand's novels transcendently awful, so he must have sampled, at least. Alright, skip to the next paragraph. In Muslim teaching, hell is intensely real and very close, says Ayaan. You could be feeling the flames at any moment. Now people say, I'm religious because it gives me comfort. I wouldn't want to live in a universe where there wasn't a God. I feel closer to myself and my family and loved ones because I know that the love of God unites everybody and everything. Right? Is this comfort? Here is not an instance of religion giving comfort. She says, hell is intensely real and very close. You could feel the flames at any moment. That used to be how the Catholics were. That used to be how Christians were. They talked about the only reason that you don't fall into the pit of flame and hell this instant is because God suffers you to remain alive. He could take you any time and he can put you straight into hell if he pleases. And then they mellowed out on that. And we skip to the end of this paragraph. Ayaan tells us that she used to hear on all sides that work would come to a standstill if men could see female flesh. Trucks would crash, and all would be chaos. It was only when she got to Holland that she appreciated coexistence on terms of gender equality, and casual dress was possible. The irony here, I must add, is slightly at her expense. I have seen grown men look really quite foolish when she comes into the room. So she says, it turns out that women don't have to be veiled. They don't cause commotion and havoc walking around when you see their flesh. And yet, she causes a bit of commotion and havoc when she walks around and you can see her flesh. Now, that's just rough. That's just a tough time that we people in the West have. We just have it rough. We people, we men. We just have it rough, and it's just hard. That's just a hard fact of life, is that we have to be stressed out by looking at beautiful women. And some men react to being attracted to women with anger and frustration and hatred. And some men react by ogling all the time and staring. But that's as nervous as women might make you, and as frustrated as you might feel when you go to the shopping mall and every other woman's just gorgeous, beautiful, you can't stand it, and you're flustered if one of them talks to you and stuff. As difficult as all that is to live with, I should rather have that than have them all wearing veils and be in a perpetual state of sexual frustration and mental illness about sexuality, you know. Now, Hitchens says, ever since September 11th, people have been running around frantically trying to say, oh my God, we've got to come to understand Islam. We've got to understand the Islamic world. Quote, how are we to understand Muslim demands and emotions? What have we done to merit such hatred? How can we come to terms with a society that appears to take religious preachment literally? In the pages of Infidel, the book we are in right now, the answers to these questions are fairly easily discoverable. The cause of backwardness and misery in the Muslim world is not Western oppression, but Islam itself. That's obvious. It's obvious. It's not the West that's oppressing Muslims, it's Islam that's oppressing Muslims. You've heard of the crisis in Darfur. It's not a crisis. It's an Islamic war. And they're taking territory. And they are pushing the areas of Christianity into smaller and smaller corners. Not that I'm a fan of Christianity, but it is not a crisis in Darfur. It is an Islamic war, and they are taking land. We skip down to the next page here. You may know that Ayaan Hirsi Ali was going to be married to a man in Canada against her. She didn't want to. She'd be married off by her father. She ended up in Holland and through one way or another was able to escape her family, saying that she was with a family that she was having disagreements with, and she said, I'm just going to go visit this other aunt or uncle or whatever in this other city. She got on a train and she was gone. Eventually she became a politician. She was elected to office there, and she helped make a movie with a guy named Theo Van Gogh, and he was stabbed to death in 1990, I think, and into his chest was stabbed a letter threatening her because she was involved in making the movie. So the government protected her, and what do you think the people of the Netherlands said? They said, why should we pay tax money to protect her when she's bringing it on herself? She didn't have to be mean and rude to Muslims. She's been mean and rude to them, and now they want to kill her, and that's not our fault. So the government of the Netherlands in October 2007 abruptly announced that it would no longer guarantee her safety if she chose to continue living in America.